Well, I woke up this morning and I started thinking about a couple of things. Number one, what's always on my mind is because we're getting ready to have family conferences. What am I going to say to the parents? Are they ready? Are the half the children that are leaving my classroom next year ready for kindergarten? At the start of the year, I was very ambitious, knowing I'd been in Montessori settings before and knowing that there are materials in the classroom that can really, help children very easily and almost organically pick up the information that's necessary to read and to do math. But you really do have to have children that have a basic desire to want to read and a basic interest in numbers. And what I'm finding is that a lot of children have really lost that desire to even count. And so this morning I woke up knowing that we have really come to a nice place in our circle time where they do love to sing, which is very nice because sometimes I get children who don't love to sing. And so I put into ChatGPT to give me some counting songs. Right now it's giving me the lyrics for those that are in public domain. But I had started with yesterday teaching the song Hickory Dickory Dock. And at the very beginning of school, I taught them 5 green and speckled frogs and 5 little ducks went out to play. And so they did like those. But, I've sung those songs a lot, and I wanted to come up with some songs that maybe I've forgotten. So Hickory Dickory Dock was one that I was reminded of from ChatGPT. I taught them 1 to 5, and they seemed to enjoy it. So I asked for the rest of the lyrics to 10. And then I asked for other counting songs. So like 1, 2, Buckle My Shoe, This Old Man, 10 Little Monkeys, 10 in the Bed, which I have played before, but our group is a little bit rambunctious, so we can't really play that game. And then there's the 5 little ducks and the 5 little speckled frogs. Wait a second. I think 10 in the Bed is the one about roll over, roll over. Okay, I'm going to add that one. Okay, so the ones that I taught, these I feel like, I think I know some of the words on those. I don't think that we're going to be able to get away with that. But I think I'm also going to add 10 in the Bed because I forgot that one. But the ones that I asked for were Jack Be Nimble. Oh, well, it said it was a counting one. That's not a counting one. 1, 2, Buckle My Shoe. Here's the Beehive. And, okay, so now I'm going to add 10 in the Bed. So I'm going to please add 10 in the Bed. And then I'm going to ask why you suggested Jack Be Nimble as a counting song. Please add. Lyrics for... And I always love hearing the answers for those kinds of questions. 4, 10 in the bed. And also, why did you suggest Jack Be Nimble as a counting game song? What song? Let's see what it says. Oh, yeah, the 10 in the Bed is going to be a cute one. Okay, and then many teachers sing it or chant it and read every verse aloud. Why I suggested Jack Be Nimble as a counting song? It isn't a counting song. I suggested it because it is commonly used with counting activities, even though the rhyme itself doesn't include numbers. It's short and rhythmic, Teachers often pair it with counting how many times Jack jumps. Counting cymbals and clap. Okay. All right, I'll give it to you. All right, so I'm going to print off these lyrics. The other thing I was thinking about is because we have rainbow letters. I think I was showing you those, or I will show you those when I go into the classroom. So I want to look up whether or not they're actually rainbow numbers, because rainbow letters have been working brilliantly to the point that there is, again, another child who hasn't even been interested in writing his name and suddenly has produced his name on a paper. It was beautiful. So, all right, let me get on with my printing. I thought I'd come in for a little bit of a coffee chat. I have a few minutes before I head off to work. Well, first of all, here are those air dried clay pieces that I did the other day. Yeah, they're still sitting here. I have not painted them yet. Haven't painted them yet. Haven't done any reading since I finished Wedding People. So we did hire some new adults at our school who now take over the recess duty so that we can have lunch, which I initially thought was an amazing idea. But what has started occurring is lots of behavior issues on the playground, which then causes me to have more conversations with parents because they're wondering, why are we suddenly having all this trouble on the playground? Fighting, like literal fist fighting, and saying inappropriate language, like cuss words at school, it's like every time you think you're getting a little bit of help, then something like this happens. So, I've just been really thinking over the last couple days. I think I told you I'm in the second semester of a launch school, and, why I came back to being a Montessori teacher, and how, at least the way that the children were vetted into this school, which is amazing in theory. These children are going to get free preschool, and you're going to give them one of the top type of educations. But I do really, I knew it before, but I really understand you've got to have some buy-in on the part of family about what it means to have a child blossoming in their independence, a real desire to learn and a love for learning, so you don't have to constantly push it as the teacher. And I don't know, there was a moment yesterday where I was watching these two children. One of them is maybe 3 years, 4 months. The other one is 4 years, 8 months. And they were just kind of going back and forth on their cots, just being silly and bouncing around, potentially falling off the cots. And I was just looking at them, and I just thought, this is what they want to do. This is what they want to do. They're not really interested in those sandpaper letters. They're not interested in the decimal system. They see how beautiful the Montessori bead cabinet is, but when I talk about how you can count so high, and there's so many numbers that you haven't even heard of before, they haven't even come out of your mouth yet, because you still don't know some of them 1 to 5, some of them 1 to 10, many of them 1 to 20, and I think we're still at the place where we're still trying to figure out what the goal is. Do we want them to be socially and emotionally ready for kindergarten and then just have basic understanding? Or do we want them just out the gate thriving? Because that's kind of the reality of a Montessori classroom, isn't it? I remember the last time I heard a true number of a Montessori classroom, the cost of what goes into it. And it was like $25,000. I'm sure it's way higher than that now. And so you put that kind of investment in. And again, you would think, well, it's high quality. It is high quality, unless children are banging the pink tower together or knocking the sound cylinders on the table or literally breaking pieces of a puzzle map. It's wasted money at that point. It's wasted money. You can give me regular materials in a regular classroom, and I can teach them from it, and I can also teach them how to take care of it. And for many of them, they will be going into public education. That's what they're going to see. So, I don't know. I think I'm at a quandary a little bit in the sense that I want to stop feeling like I have to force feed the Montessori system down their throat and really just enjoy them a little more. Because it's funny, we have a Montessori mentor teacher that comes in. And again, yesterday was like kind of an eye-opening day, I think, because I'm still not feeling good. I've got most of the yuck gone, but I was sitting there watching her, and she was taking one of the botany puzzles, and they're beautiful puzzles. If you haven't seen them before, I'll show you in the classroom at some point. And the beauty of the puzzle, well, any puzzle can do this, but this is a beautiful thing because, like, for example, if it's a frog, it's all the pieces of the frog put together, and then you can take them out of its casing, and then you can build it on the table, and it's just really interesting to watch it be built on the table. And she was sitting there doing that, and I thought, gosh, that must feel so nice to just sit with that child in that moment and just enjoy the moment, you know? And I get to do it. I get to do it more than I did last semester. Last semester, the whole production was on me. At least now for about 30 minutes a day, half the children go into an outdoor classroom, and so I get a little more time with them. But it's still very much like a lot of directing as opposed to them naturally gravitating to things. So I don't know, these are my thoughts for today. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're a Montessori teacher, what are your struggles? How do you pull back? I don't know if I've added this part of the puzzle. I only get the 4s 1 year because they go straight to kindergarten. We don't do kindergarten. I'll get the 3s for 2 years. So I definitely see the 3s becoming more interested than the 4s, which will make it for a different year next year when the new 3s come in, because they'll see 4s that are engaged and interested in the classroom. But losing that kindergarten year, I already knew that would hurt a little bit because it is kind of like the crescendo of like all the work you've been putting in. Yeah, so I think I just wanted to share that and see what your thoughts are on it. Well, I am pretty excited because I am putting together a project that we were doing based on the artist Jim Dine. We talked about his art, which has a lot of where he is inspired, and a lot of his paintings by hearts. And we are in February, and we are celebrating, the heart, the Valentine. And so what I did was I created a template for them. And then from there, I showed them a picture of the artwork, which of course I come into the classroom like, where did it get put? I might have to add it in later, but, and then they do their own rendering of it. And it's always so beautiful. I found it. So beautiful to see what they come up with. So this is the art that they were inspired by. It's Jim Dine's art painting called 4 Hearts. Really beautiful. And so I'm going to start to put their artwork together now, and I'll show you the final product. So I'm sitting in my car so I can have silence during my break time. I had a kid lunch. It was leftover turkey and cheese. We do a sandwich on Fridays. I would have showed it to you, but I was so hungry I scarfed it down. But I hide in my car, and that way people don't like come by and think they can share things with me because I'm on lunch. I'm on lunch. But yeah, there's my proof that I was eating a kid's meal, kid's sandwich. I do try to get a little protein in, and I started with this morning. And I was upside down. And I was drinking protein drinks, but apparently I drink them too fast, and it makes me not feel good. I guess you're supposed to sip it. Also, recently learned I'm supposed to be sipping my water and not just downing it. So again, these things that I'm learning where I'm just like, ugh, okay, I've got it all wrong. I get it, I've got it all wrong. Anyway, I just wanted to get on and say it is Friday for me, and it has been definitely a week. Yesterday we had a child vomit in the middle of the floor, just literally like, it felt like it was just a river in the middle of the floor. We don't have carpet, so that's good. We just have a carpet area, so we meet there. So that was very nice. And yeah, like I said, I've been thinking a lot about this idea of like, what do you do when children are naturally gravitating towards, you know, knowing their letters or wanting to write their name. And one of the teachers that I work with, she actually took a role as an assistant teacher. She didn't want the stress of being a lead teacher. And she said something to the effect of like, the longest path, I won't remember it, but what the premise behind it was that the longest path is the way that is the one that you're forced to be on. So in other words, if they really don't want to learn their letters, you just really need to let it go, you know, because we know in kindergarten, you really have no choice. You'll have to learn your letters. And I should really understand that, because I have a daughter who absolutely wanted nothing to do with learning her letters. And I'd say things like, and this was before I was a teacher, but don't you want to learn how to read? No, she wasn't interested. She was a very social child. She really loved doing arts and crafts, and she loved playing outside. She saw no need for learning any sort of reading, you know, because I read to her. So, you know, why does she need to learn how to read? Very pragmatic, if you will, as you think about it. But I guess even today, I'm just like, today I thought, okay, I'm going to lighten up on everything. If you want to come to Circle, great. I'm going to start my new routine. I think I shared with you about the rainbow letters. I started with rainbow numbers. And I'm just going to give them the space to, if what they need to be doing are things in practical life, then that's fine, as long as they are not disrupting someone else. As long as they are, if they're sitting side by side with someone else, because with the tables, it's, you know, there's two to a table. Let me ask you this, those Montessori teachers that are out there. Do you ever make it so that it has to be a one-person table, and then if there isn't a table available because there's already one person at each table, they then have to choose a rug work? Because I'm kind of playing around with the idea of that. So give me your thoughts about that. Because again, the sensorial area has pretty much become like non-use. And I'm trying to figure out how to reactivate that. Because I do have a lot of 3-year-olds in there, but this is the crazy part. The 3-year-olds actually are watching when I give lessons to the older ones, and they want to do the older lessons, the older children's lessons. So then when I separate them, because I do a separation where some of them go to the outdoor classroom, and then I have this, you know, the olders together, the youngers together. When I do that, and you would think, okay, because if you're thinking, oh, well then of course, when the 3-year-olds are out, then the 4-year-olds will pick the challenging work. They don't. And then when the 4-year-olds out and the 3-year-olds are in,
They just want me to give them lessons, and they're listening, and just all those things, which again just means that next year we're going to have more Montessori intelligent children than this year, which they had no clue of what they were getting themselves into. All right, anyway, I'm going to focus on eating these crackers. I did bring some coffee. I forgot I iced the coffee, so when I had my first drink, I'm like, oh, it's cold. Yeah, I iced it. Anyway, all right, I'm going to get back to it. All right, well, I am heading to a show with my sister. She is a dance teacher at another school. She runs a program, and
there's construction ahead.
I had told her about, having seen this dance troupe called Alvin Ailey Dance Company. It's out of Harlem, New York. And she said she'd never seen him before, which, again, because she's so, steeped in dance, I was so surprised. And I thought, all right, if they come to Arizona again, I'm going to get these tickets for her birthday, which I did. And so today is the day. Again, this has been on the calendar since, November. And I am telling you, it's Friday afternoon, and this is how the day went. Had the day, and of course Friday, for those of you that like a little fun in knowing that you have finished up your week well. And I came home from work, and I literally sat down in a chair. I am trying out e-meals, e-delivery, and that kind of thing, trying to, again, revamp my cooking so it's not just the same thing all the time, because I just am not in the mood. And so I was sitting there trying to figure out that app. And literally my brain felt like it's in a vegetative state. And then finally figured that out, got in my car, got gas, and now I'm driving to see my sister. And I'm telling you, I could have easily just sat in that chair and literally done nothing. And that's how I can tell. This is why I'm so grateful that I'm finally opening up and sharing it with others, because I know there has to be teachers out there just like me who their life is literally passing them by because you're putting everything into your classroom. And even this weekend, in order for me to get ahead, because we have conferences coming up, because we have to fill out our conferences for 20 children, then our head of school has to approve them, and then we have to send them to the parents 5 days before the conference time. Our conference is February 26th. So yeah, it literally has to be this weekend that I have to start. Otherwise, it's going to take way too long. And like I said, I think that's when you finally really start to pay attention to how your life is going and how much you are not in work-life balance, and not even that, it's just work. No such thing even as balance. So anyway, I know once I get there, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have a nice dinner just at some fun little restaurant nearby, and I'll try to video a little bit if I am able. But yeah, again, I'm just very, very thankful that even when I'm not feeling up to it, even the gym, and I'll share a little bit about that. I really, in December, I really wanted to start doing a calculated workout rather than just going to the gym, maybe running on the treadmill, maybe walking on the treadmill, maybe figuring out if there's a gym class or a group exercise class. Instead of doing all that, it's no, I use the power of ChatGPT. There was a favorite YouTube channel that did free weights, full body, during COVID that I really loved. And I basically just put that channel, name into ChatGPT, and I said, I would like a 12-week program, 3 days a week, based on these videos, and please give me some variety. And
at the next light, turn right onto the Arizona 202 Loop West ramp.
I did my first 12 weeks. I am now in week 5, day 3 of my second 12 weeks. So in essence, 17 weeks of staying on a program.
At the light, turn right onto the Arizona 202 Loop West ramp.
And it's not like I'm like sculpted or anything like that.
In a quarter
but
mile,
I can
merge onto
definitely-
Arizona 202, Arizona 202 Loop West.
I can definitely see that my metabolism has kicked up a little bit, and I definitely feel a lot better. But what I have to do is I put my gym stuff in the car, and I literally leave work and go straight to the gym. No excuses. And the 3 days a week is just very much like, okay, you can do this 3 days a week. So, all right, so there you have it. Share how you are trying to put workouts into your routine, and I'll check back in a little bit later. Have one of our cars parked, and then take her car, and then that way we know at least one car is parked, and we might park hers across the street, because you can go in as early as 6:30 and find your spot. So I'm just gonna pop out, see if we can find her. I will check back. Yes. Yeah, I want to say the last time I was here was for like a concert or something. I know what it was. It was Men at Work. The guy from Men at Work. Yeah.
How was that?
It was so good. It was so good. Making my morning coffee. Hello, hi there. This is Robin Norgren. I am a Montessori preschool teacher, and I am sharing insights into a year of trying to find work-life balance. And this morning, in quite the opposite fashion of work-life balance, it is Saturday morning, and I am preparing my coffee for the morning so that I can start doing my parent-teacher conference reports. We use a system, combination of Brightwheel and then a system created by the school that I work for. And it generates a report, and then from there we just have to go in and make sure it's accurately assessing the children. Still have this cold hanging on. Came home last night, went and saw Alvin Ailey dance troupe. That was here for one night only. It was incredible.
yeah, it was just incredible. Came home and I was just like, okay, once I, do these things that they call work-life balance, these activities, the more I realize, yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we as teachers, we get to this place where it's like, okay, well, when I get all the work done, then I can start doing more things that are enjoyable. And what I have learned over 10 years of doing this is that the job is so insatiable. You're never going to get to that place. And I feel like there's also some levels of an addictive quality to it, because the idea of any other job where you're not working on this hamster wheel place situation is like, feels like it's going to be a boring job. Like, what am I going to do with my life if I'm not doing schoolwork on the weekends, So, anyway, I'm just trying to find a way to do better. And I'm really just kind of thinking back on things that used to be enjoyable for me before and trying to incorporate those and then add some things in as well. Today I signed up for a yoga class, so at least I know that after I've been working at this for quite a while, I am going to take myself to a yoga class. So, making the coffee now, hoping to get at least half of them done. It's supposed to be fairly easy because basically it's just a bunch of skill sets, and you've been observing it in the classroom as much as you can observe it. And then from there, you just have to write some sort of narrative. So the hard part is going to be writing the narrative, making it so that it doesn't seem so redundant, making it so that it's not so crazily vague, like, you're a joy to have here. Really trying to give a family something that they can really take home and process and really have a sense of where their children are. And that's my desire. In our school, in preschools in general, you have a lead teacher and an assistant teacher. In our school, the assistant teacher is elevated to the place of lead teacher in the sense that they are a part of the conversations as well, which I think is a double-edged sword. Now, I started as an assistant teacher, and I'm a professional, so I don't let things just drop out of my mouth, just saying things as if it's not going to have some impact on someone. And unfortunately, I do have a situation where that is not a skill set that's been developed yet in the other member of the team. And so I can already feel the angst from that something could be said that is unsaid, or the over-talking is just really a part of the thing. And I don't really know how to address it, because this person is the type of person that if you say it, then they go to the other extreme, because then they don't want to say the wrong thing. But then you're left with someone who just feels dysregulated because they thought what they were saying is so important and it needs to be said. It's just a frightfully dangerous situation to try to figure out who's the person you truly need to support here. Is it the child? It is. It is the child. And how I, as a parent, know that if something is said about my child, it can't be unsaid. It can't be unsaid. It will be playing in your mind. And I just think there's just a part of this that's just become a very maddening sense of what this job is that I could have never imagined. I could have never imagined an assistant teacher feeling some type of way about needing to say something to a parent. I never felt that. And I came into this profession older. I didn't, it wasn't straight out of school or anything like that. And I never thought what I needed to say was the thing that needed to be said when I'm not the lead teacher, right? And so, I don't know, I'm at this place now. I don't want to completely just, go, well, whatever she's going to say is what she's going to say. Although I probably need to land there because I didn't hire the person. So what they're saying, I'm not responsible for that. That person is, and also the person who hired you. So, I don't know, I've got to give it some more thought here. I woke up, like I said, feeling a little bit of the angst. I have come to figure out that I have situational high blood pressure, and the situation is this job. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start making my coffee. I'm still on my Rise coffee kick, and it's definitely been the game changer for alertness and for, it's definitely been a game changer. The brain fog is completely gone, and my ability to focus and really hone in on what needs to get done, and I've always had a pretty good sense of it, but I think just as you get older, you start to deal with certain issues having to do with the brain, and I can tell you that this has really cleared it up. So, highly recommend. I use Rise coffee. I haven't tried any other ones. I can't really speak to those. This one definitely has a good flavor. I do add oat milk creamer to it, but I remember the first time I had a cup, didn't put anything in it, and I could smell the mushrooms, and I do love mushrooms, but the idea of drinking mushrooms at first was really off-putting, but I gave it another chance because they marketed to me, well, why not try it with creamer? I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And they gave me a great introductory deal. So anyway, my tea kettle's about to go off, and see you in the next one.
right, I just picked up my first e-meals order. So it's pretty seamless. You just pick your meals that you'd like to cook, and then you decide where you want to pick them up from. I picked them up from Walmart, but I think like there was an option to even go through Amazon if you wanted to, which is pretty interesting. I think also like a Target as well. So you got some variety there. So I've picked five new meals. Did it this time for a family of 3 instead of a family of 2. Hoping that, because definitely the complaint from the family is that the portions were too small. So we're going to do the family of 3 and see if that works. It was 5 meals. It came out to about $128, which is not too terribly bad, since we're not really big breakfast and lunch eaters. So the main meal is dinner for us. So I did that. I'm kind of looking forward to trying them. They definitely had more variety on there, probably because you have the whole grocery store as an option. And then, you just can pick it up same day, which is nice. So I would even think I don't even have to do 3 days or 5 days, or 5 meals, if you will. I could maybe do a couple meals at a time and just see, and then, maybe kind of wing it on other days. But again, like I said, I'm just trying to get more effective. And also, even with this, I feel like I need to get some quality of life back, because I was just eating the same things all the time because it was quick and easy. Didn't want to think about it. But at the same time, it just wasn't enjoyable at all. So this is kind of jump-starting that. I did get a chance to talk to my sister. I thought that I was going to not talk to my sister because I settled down to do my conferences, the conference summary. So we had to go through the system and make sure that, if a child is showing as developing instead of proficient, is it because I forgot to click off that they mastered something? Just so you're ready for these conferences with the parents, that they're not going to be frustrated about something which is just operator error because I didn't put it in the system right. So I did that, came up with, 10 out of 20, came up with 10 unique narratives that had to be 5 to 8 sentences long. Thank you to ChatGPT, because you get a general sense of it, and then there's some things you want to say but you can't just say it, like your child tantrums 3 out of 5 days, or they're really sensitive, and so I think with ChatGPT it definitely does kind of save you, but you do have to have a sense of what's going on with a child. Otherwise, I think it can feel very robotic. So anyway, all that to say is, so that felt good. I had also signed up for a yoga class, and when I finally got done with my with the 10 kinders, and sent a message to my head of school so she could start looking them over, I looked down at the time. I was still in my pajamas. It was 9:40, and the class was at 9:55, and there was no way, so I had to skip it. So I will go to the gym later, but again, this is another example of how work is taking the front seat on a Saturday to my life. And I completely forgot that I do a call with my sister every week, and I completely forgot, and I was literally heartbroken about it, because I really have come to look forward to that, because we had been estranged for a long time. Long story about that. Finally came together last year, July, and we've made it a habit that we're going to at least talk once a week, and here I am forgetting to call. And so I just, called, when I was on my way to get the groceries, hoping that I could at least profusely apologize and leave a message. But she ended up running late for work, so we ended up having a good 30-minute conversation. So that felt really nice. Got a little bit back of what I felt like got stolen away from me because of my job. So anyway, going home, I had one more meal that's left from Home Chef that I have to, cook today. Otherwise, we got to throw it out. And so I'm going to do that. So it'll be kind of like a fancy little lunch for me. I think it's like trout cakes and baked potato. So that definitely sounds good. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, going to potentially do one of the meals. So if I do, I'll go over the recipes with you so you can see what I put in for my first order. And I'll give you an honest assessment of what I think of emails. I would say I do like Home Chef. I definitely would have probably continued on with it, and I might do it in the future, maybe not get 5 meals, but it definitely was an issue that now, and mind you, like I said, when we think about portions, like I'm not thinking gigantically large portions are necessary, but I would say with a couple of them, like a side of rice or a little bit of veggies could have like completed the meal. And when you think you don't have to think about all that, you just have to cook it, and then you look at like what it portions out to, it's like kind of, underwhelming to think, oh, and now I have to cook something else to add to it. So that would be my only critique on that. But the food, all the food that I chose, really, really nice selections. So, all right, I'm going to focus on driving and talk to you later.
actually ate my portion of it because I was so freaking hungry. I will tell you, literally had to keep putting the timer on, putting the timer on, putting the timer on for all of the details. And because I told you this is the first time I've done Home Chef, I didn't realize there's a spot I should have been paying attention to. Expert level, 50 to 60 minutes. Oh my gosh, but look at this recipe. So, had to make sure that the potatoes were at room temperature. Whoops. So I had to just end up just baking the potato normally. So then this bakes for 30 to 35 minutes. Then this cooks 3 to 4 minutes per side. Then it has to cool for 5 minutes. Then it has to go in the oven again for 7 to 10 minutes. Then it comes out. After 5 minutes it's cooled. Then I have to shred it into pieces. Then I had to make this sauce. Then I had to chill in the refrigerator for 5 minutes. Then I had to do another 5 minutes, make them into the patties, and then I had to do 2 to 3 minutes on each side. And then I had to take it out and I had to put it back in the oven for another 8 to 12 minutes. You guys, that would never fly on a teacher night. Never, never, never. So it is Saturday. I took the time to do it, but I'm absolutely going to pay attention next time. So tonight we're going to do one of the meals from the emails, and I'll let you know about that.